never smoke the dizzy, but we can always share some ditsies. It's just a cup in time. This song doesn't have to rhyme. Life's all of us, not every moment we can be feeling fine. I wanna share a moment, just a second if you will, maybe even a cup of thrill. We could share this performance. It's tea time, come sit with me.
Oh, welcome guys, Miss Liz in the house, and I have the incredible Wayne Elsey in the back, and we're going to talk about some sneakers today. That's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about shoes, and we're going to talk about the impact that a pair of shoes can make with sneakers for good and funds two orgs, I think, or it's 20 orgs. We're going to get Wayne to say it when he comes out out live with us. But before we get started, you guys know how Miss Liz rolls. Get over to all those platforms: Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, and all those podcast apps out there, Spotify, Listen Notes, babyboomers.org. Check that platform out. Miss Liz is a partner also with that platform, so check that out. But let's get started with disclaimer and get Wayne in here with a beautiful intro, and then we're going to spill some tea. And the tea we're serving today is overcoming the odds, believing in a better world, and making a better world a reality. That is the tea we are serving today with Wayne. So, disclaimer for Miss Liz's Tea Time live show. Miss Liz's Tea Time is a global platform dedicating to sharing real-life stories, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations that inspire awareness, healing, and connection. I'm Miss Liz is going live using StreamYard. Before leaving a comment during the live broadcast, please grant StreamYard permission to display your name at StreamYard.com. Please be advised that the content brought forward during any Tea Time show is presented in good faith. However, discussions may include opinions, beliefs, and perspectives that do not necessarily represent the views of Miss Liz or the Tea Time platform. Information shared by guests is based on their own experiences and is perceived to be accurate at the given time of airing. All guests, viewers, and participants are responsible for using their own judgment when considering any action or decision that may relate to these discussions. Some episodes may cover sensitive topics, including but not limited to trauma, abuse, grief, mental health, and other emotionally triggering subjects. Listeners' and viewers' discretion is strongly advised. Tea Time with Miss Liz is an open discussion forum designed to offer insight, inspire awareness, and create connection. It is not a substitute for professional, medical, legal, or therapeutical advice. If you require professional support, please seek assistance from qualified professionals or trusted resources in your area. If you have any questions regarding this disclaimer or the content of this discussion, you are welcome to contact me, aka Miss Liz, directly at my email at bookingmissliz@gmail.com, or check out my link tree at Miss Liz's Tea Time. By choosing to participate in, comment on, or view these live shows, you acknowledge and accept this disclaimer. Your participation is entirely voluntary. I, Miss Liz, welcomes you to join the conversation with an open heart, and if at any time you feel this platform is not right for you, I respect your wishes and decision and welcome you back whenever you are ready. Tea Time with Miss Liz is serving truth and awareness one cup at a time. Well, welcome to Tea Time with Miss Liz, where purpose meets action and stories remind us that one ideal can create impact across the world. Today's guest is someone who has taken a simple concept and turned it into a global movement of change. Please join me in welcoming Wayne Elsey, founder of Funds 2 Org, global social entrepreneur, philanthropist, and author. Wayne has dedicated his life to proving that business and compassion can walk hand in hand. Through Funds 2 Org, he's created a model that helps communities in the United States raise funds while supporting micro-entrepreneurs in developing countries around the world. Through something as simple as collecting gently worn shoes, lives are being changed, families are supported, businesses are created, and waste is reduced, and opportunity is given where it is needed most. His story is rooted in resilience, innovation, and one belief that when we choose to act, we can transform adversity into possibility. His tea speaks clearly, overcoming the odds, believing in a better world, and making a better world reality. So grab your cup and lean in. Today's Tea Time is about impact, purpose, and how small actions can create global change. And let me get Wayne in here and let's spill some tea. Welcome, Wayne.
Well, welcome, Miss Liz. I think after the introduction, I'm not sure what I can say now. Thank you.
I do talk a lot at the beginning, and I try to get out as much as I can out there. Uh, so, Wayne, we're going to start. Since you said you've listened to a couple of tea times, we're going to start. Who was Wayne as a little guy, and who is Wayne now?
Wayne, as a little guy, was probably a pain in the butt. He was full of energy. He had, this before they had ADD diagnosis and all this stuff. They used to give me Benadryl, and Benadryl makes me sleep. So I was just a very, very, very active child as a kid. And growing up, I didn't really have the best of situations, but made the best of it and basically have evolved to, be a self-made person, in today's world.
And who are you today?
First of all, you see what you get. I'm a guy that if I tell you something, if I write you a check mentally or physically or whatever, take it to the bank and cash it. I think that the old days of shaking hands and doing business and looking people in the eye and doing things that way is way outdated. And I think it's something that, man, I wish it was like it used to be. There's oftentimes I'm just like, this every world problem could be solved with the golden rule. If people remember that do unto others, you have to do unto you, things would be great. And that's not a religious statement. That's just a statement in every religion there is, that we should treat people like we want to be treated. And, those days are, past, I think, unfortunately, for the most part.
So, Wayne, what got you into running shoes?
Well, I'm in the shoe business. I mean, I've been in the shoe business since I was 15 and worked in stock rooms and managed companies, CEOs, owned a couple companies. And basically right now what we do is a whole different life of shoes. So we're in the shoe business in theory, but we take gently worn, used and new shoes and we turn them into opportunities in developing nations. So instead of selling shoes at, a major department store or a shoe store, we take their inventory they don't want or shoes that people collect and we repurpose them into developing nations to the reuse economy to create opportunities for folks.
I like that because it's not going into wastelands.
It's definitely staying out of landfills, that's for sure. I mean, USA alone, there's 2.5 billion pairs sold a year. That's 70 pairs per person. So there's a lot of shoes that are moved that are basically just sitting idle that we extract from their closets and they go buy more. But the whole deal is to keep them out of landfills.
So are you only collecting running shoes?
So we have a running shoe division, which is Sneakers for Good. And then Funds to Orgs is our other divisions of fundraiser. So schools, churches, civic groups would collect shoes. We'd give them all the material to collect the shoes in the U.S. And they would then get picked up by our logistics, and then we would pay them for them. And then we ship those to developing nations the same way to create jobs.
Oh, that is cool. Well, we got a couple of questions here that are coming in, so I want to get those out to you, Wayne. The first one is, what inspired you to create Funds to Org, and how did the idea come to life?
Yeah, so it really began back during the Asian tsunami. I think that was around 2004. I was sitting on the couch. I watched the newscast, and I saw this single shoe float up on the shore. And I was actually president of a shoe company at the time that's based out of Toronto that had a U.S. operation that I helped start. And I said, you need to do something about this. And so literally I started collecting shoes. I called people in the shoe industry and I said, hey, look, let's do something to help these folks out. So literally within 30 to 45 days later, we got 250,000 pairs of shoes in, shipped them to Southeast Asia, and really made a big impact there. Didn't think much more about it until Katrina happened several years later, the major hurricane that we had in Mississippi and Louisiana. And I said, if we could do this for people on the other side of the world, why can't we do this right here in America? And we did it. We collected over 1 million pair of shoes. I founded an organization, and one of the arms of the organization that I founded, basically, I got an idea. I was in Haiti, and I saw people sitting on the ground selling clothing and fruit and shoes and whatever. I'm like, maybe we should do this. So I came back. I sent one of my board members to Venezuela. He goes, oh, this is stupid. This will never work. You're crazy. And I called him 2 days later. While I was in Haiti, I said, how many shoes you sold? I said, I sold 50. I said, well, I sold 80. And I said, we are going to help people pull themselves out of poverty by giving them a viable product that they want, because in developing nations, that's a shoe is a form of transportation. There's no cars, there's no buses, there's no vehicle. So that's really a long story of how it started, and it evolved into what we're doing today with the several pillars of our company that we have.
We have a question here about Haiti. What does it mean for micro entrepreneurs in countries like Haiti or Cambodia to receive these opportunities?
It's life changing. I call it don't give a hand out, give a hand up. We have, I just have a new book that came out called The Reuse Economy. And it's been amazing going through that process over the last 9 months of interviewing people, talking to people. There are people that we've met that said, look, Wayne, if I didn't sell 2 or 3 pair of your shoes a day, I have to sell my body. There's a lady that built a house that put her kids through private school all over shoes that Americans are excess. Like I said, there's 7, 8 pairs purchased a year per person in America. Well, this is waste. This is excess. Well, that excess is now being turned into opportunities in Cambodia, Haiti, and other countries as well.
Well, when you mentioned the book, so I'm going to pull up the book. So this is in the book, correct?
Yep, that's the cover of the book.
So
That's
do you want
actually
to tell us
that's
a
a
little bit about the book?
that's a picture right there, an actual picture of somebody in Cambodia cleaning the shoes. And then we have videos to support this. We have, it's amazing to me that, these folks can take 6 different colors of paint and paint one of those blues and it's perfect. Where I'd have to run to the store 14 times to get the right color to match. Well, they can do it because this is survival for them. So the book talks about just really, hey, there's an opportunity for our waste, and it's really focused on shoes and textiles because 70% of the global population does reuse shoes and textiles. It's a big business. If you go into developing nations, you'll see clothing everywhere that's from America. And it's a good way for them to create a business, to create an opportunity, and really build their lives. Those were all used shoes. That's after they were hand washed, not a machine, nothing electrical, but they were all hand washed by her. That's Americans' excess turned into opportunity.
So I'm popping up some images for the people that are listening through the audio. There are pictures. If you want to see the pictures, you got to go watch the live show. That's how Miss Liz rolls. So I'm just popping up some images. These are bags and bags of shoes. Is this gone to Haiti or where were these shoes sent to?
That right there is our operation in Cambodia. We ship them a container load a month, and basically they're packaged just like that. Both ends of the bag are stitched. There's about 30 pair in each bag, and they're basically sold by the bag. This lady here is in Kenya. Her shop actually burned down, and she's a lady that was actually after the fire. She's a lady that we helped get it to rebuild in Kenya, and she's selling shoes. And she actually put her kids through school. And I get pictures of her kids. I get thank you notes from her all the time, and WhatsApp messages from her. And this is her business here. She'll take those shoes home at night in a wagon or something, and basically keep them from being misused or stolen. Her job is to sell shoes.
And we have another image here. What's this image?
That's the beautiful lady in Haiti that I was describing earlier that basically said, if I didn't sell these shoes, I'd be selling my body.
And your book, when was it released, Wayne?
Actually, 2 weeks ago. The website's going live Monday. The hard launch is really next week at a trade show in Charlotte. And we're going to be giving away hundreds of copies and autographing them. And Courtney, who's in the book, is also going to be there. And we're just excited for it because there's been all kinds of attempts and all kinds of books that are written about this, but this is really specific to footwear and shoes, or footwear and clothing, textiles, which is my background. So it really drills down into that category of how our excess can create a difference, providing it's not polyester and all that kind of stuff. It's cotton and good product. It can really be reused versus thrown away.
Well, Wayne, we have a couple of comments that are coming in. I just want to get them out to you. Amazing story. How did the ideal first begin? You were just jumped on. So
yeah, so Kelly, it was interesting because I was in Tampa, which is about an hour and a half from where I live. I was speaking at a conference down there, and it was a nonprofit conference. At that time, I was beginning to kind of rekindle my marketing company. And I went to this nonprofit conference and talked to a bunch of people, and I left there and I told my wife, I said, this is not going to work. There is not a lot of money in the nonprofit space to afford what we want to do. I was driving back, And halfway between Orlando and Tampa is a city called Lakeland. It happens to be one of the fastest growing cities in the U.S. right now, which means traffic's terrible. So driving back, and somebody called me from Haiti. And they say, Wayne, I know you left your old charity, and can you get us some shoes? Can you help us out? I said, well, I really can. I said, I'll be glad to connect you with those guys, but I've kind of moved on and focusing on Wayne. And I said, but I'll see what I can do. I got home 45 minutes later. I took a shower. When I got out of the shower, I told my wife, I said, you know what? I got a business idea. We're going to take shoes and collect them. We're going to pay the charities for them. So we're going to be able to support the micro enterprises. But the other thing is we're going to be able to support charities and churches and civic groups that need money. So we did that. We literally started a company. I came up with the name. I drew it out on a piece of paper, got some people involved to help me graphically put it together, and we launched Funds to Org. So funds is money, to is who it's going to, and orgs is an organization, whether it's a nonprofit, for-profit, whatever. They all get paid to collect the shoes, which is our largest company right now, of the five that we have.
I like that. So I was saying it right, funds to org instead of funds 20 gores.
Yeah, that's Canadian accent. That's okay. We're good with that. That's just the dumb Southern boy that never really made it out of high school almost, barely.
Well, I'm a Northern Canadian girl, and sometimes those letters and numbers all get all mixed up and jumbled sometimes. We have a good question here about schools, because I'm big on schools. How do we start a school drive fundraiser for our schools?
Yes, so you can go to our website at funds2orgs.com and check out all the information there. The unfortunate thing is we only do business in America. So if you're not in the United States, we don't have the capabilities of doing that just because of logistics. So if you're in the United States, we have 30 people that work in that company. You call, the phone will be answered. You send an email, it'll be responded to. We really try to instill the golden rule in everything that we do. So we answer the phone, we respond to emails, we really outservice you when it comes to doing business with us. So the way to get plugged in, we check our website out and then call our office. There's people standing by ready to take your call now.
And we have another question here for you, Wayne, is how can communities get involved globally?
I don't really know what globally means to you, Russ. We only do business in America, so we can do globally in America. As far as micro enterprise operations and the reuse economy, the people that we help, the hand up versus the hand out, the deal with that is we're in 24 countries right now. We're having a hard time just really filling the demand, because one of the things that we do is we don't touch, we don't grade, we don't sort, we send everything, the good, bad, and the ugly all together. So maybe like a Nike Air Jordan or a pair of Hokas in there or whatever, or a pair of Kodiak boots up in Canada, whatever that may have crossed the border and on somebody's foot down here. But so we basically send them everything they got, which is what they love.
And we got a question here from Bradley. What challenges did you face early on?
How long is this show?
1 hour. 1 hour, 1 minute, 1 second.
This is a long question. I'm not sure your name, Mr. Bradley. I would tell you that, what you start with in a business concept and what you are now 13 years later is totally different. The name may be the same. The scale is completely different, but you got to be able to flex and really be able to put your ego aside and adjust the model, because the model we had 13 years ago is not the model we have today. In theory, it's the same, but in scale, it's way different. So the challenges we had was, really a combination of really just saying, okay, we're not the consumer. We're not the person collecting the shoes. We may think we know everything. And we may think that, hey, Wayne's been in the shoe business for 15 years. Well, this is way different. And we're not the consumers. So we really had to be quiet and listen and let our consumers tell us what it was, a church, school, civic group, whatever, how many they could collect, how they could collect them, and then really learn and grow from there. So the biggest challenge we had is just put our egos aside and realize we're not the paying customer in theory. Even though they're not paying us, we're paying them.
I like that. Put the ego aside because so many people get into charities or organizations and the ego's there, right? Ah, I'm going to make a big difference. I'm going to do this. I'm. Where they're not looking at the bigger picture, where it's the people that are involved, the volunteers, the community, the staff and behind it. Nobody ever mentions. So Wayne, do you want to do a shout out to your incredible staff that you work with?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have a great team. The cool thing about my company is I have an executive team with a tenure is average of 10.5 years. And the only reason that's way down is we have two people that have joined us, one 8 years ago, and then one 6 months ago to head up one of our pillars of marketing. And then our other team, our entire team, which is the most important, our support team, has been here an average of 5 years, which is very, very, very nice to see that people are sticking because they like it here. We are not a remote company. We are a team building company. We talk around the water cooler. I personally circle the halls every day and go say hi to everybody. I sit down at their desk, look them in the eye. How's it going? How's your family? How's life? Or by the way, get your butt in gear and get to work. Whatever it may be. But it's just a great team. It's a great family, and we just all lean into each other and involved. And the good ones stick.
I think it's important that we give shout outs to our team because sometimes they don't. There's so much work that gets done in the background that nobody sees with all these incredible charities and organizations, and the little guys are the ones that are pulling the hall and that. We have some more questions coming in, and we have one here: is how many shoes do you need to start to collect for a shoe drive?
So, Mary, we have several programs. Again, if you look on our website, you'll see that. But it's all done by the pound. So we pay you by the pound. So we are a for-profit social enterprise. You are a nonprofit in theory, or a school group in theory, Mary. I'm just assuming here. But what we would do is we would provide you with the starter kit, which includes the bags, the rubber bands, all the marketing materials, a goal chart, and everything. And people basically take that stuff. They go out to their community. They have 50, 60 people that they can reach out to and collect shoes and clean out their closet and basically just put them in the bags, and our logistics team picks them up. So the short answer to your question is it's really up to you. It's what you put into it and really the capacity. The biggest challenge we have as an organization is everybody wants to do this. Everybody wants to get plugged in. Well, it takes an army to do this, yeah, Mary, and it may be 20 people, 30 people, or maybe 5 people. But these 5 people have to be connected, have to have businesses or whatever that you can put out collection boxes or bins or whatever to collect the stuff. So I would say it's up to you, Mary, and how many friends you got that really want to get plugged in and collect shoes for 60 days.
And we have another question from Mary: is do we have to mail you the shoes?
Well, under Funds to Orgs, we have a logistics team. We have 13 different consolidation points around the country. So our truck drivers take that product to our consolidation points, which there is a container waiting that gets exported. So if you do that program with Funds to Orgs, no, you do not mail those. There is not the margin in there to mail those to us. If you do a Sneakers for Good program, like, for example, we just got back from the Boston Marathon this last weekend. It was yesterday, matter of fact. Today's Tuesday. It was Monday. We were there all weekend. We are the sustainability partner for the Boston Marathon. We are the sustainability partner for St. Jude. And for those programs there, if you collect gently worn, used, and new athletic shoes under our brand Sneakers for Good, we do provide prepaid shipping bags that are either UPS friendly or FedEx friendly. You would just drop off. You fill it up, drop it off, and it goes right back to our warehouse.
Well, we may have some more questions that are coming in, but I want to get into the numbers because I have the numbers here from the website for the people that would like to check out the website. You have 4,000 micro enterprise partners. 37 million pairs of shoes from landfills were saved. Shoe drives, you have 24,283, and 19 million has been fundraised. And you just said 24 countries. So when you see those numbers, Wayne, how do you feel?
The world is huge, and the opportunity is there. How it makes me feel is we didn't do good enough, in theory, because it's like if we started a charity that was focused on cancer and nobody got cancer and everybody was healed from cancer and the charity went out of business, sign me up. That's awesome. So my point about the shoe business, again, we are a for-profit social enterprise. We can't get enough product, meaning that the demand is out there. We've created the demand of something that is changing lives in a big way. And we are giving people a hand up, not a handout. We're teaching them business. In Haiti at one time, in the heyday there, we had a school, and they would go to school in this little building that we rented. And they would go there and they would learn math because they never learned that before. Most of these folks couldn't write or read. And we taught them that. And John and his wife, Annie, helped me out with that. And just amazing situation. I'll tell you a funny story about that. I went to rent the building. And in America, when you lease a building, you talk about the monthly rent, right? So we're talking and John's translating. And I got, this space is probably 1,000 square feet. And John said they want $3,000. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. What do you think? I'm a stupid American. I'm not going to pay $3,000 a month for anything like that. What do you think you're doing? He goes, Wayne, that's a year. I said, give me 3 years. So, I didn't understand their culture. So that was a year rate. I said, well, give me 3 years. And like I said, to this day, I just talked to John the other day and he was laughing because he negotiated leases lately, Wayne. I'm like, well, yeah, let's don't go there.
There's so much difference in costs in different countries, right? And when we hear the numbers, we're like, what the heck are you doing? Like, what do you think? I'm going to fall for that? Like,
that was it.
I want to talk about right? I want to talk about the mascot, this cool mascot, Sneakster,
Is
that what he's called?
Yeah. So we,
who came up with that guy?
My wife did, matter of fact. I'll give her props on that. We were talking just one day and she goes, we need a mascot. And so we went back to the team and talked about it. And we just need something fun. We need something to really, dress things up because we've been doing this for 13 years and we wanted something a little bit sassier than what we have. So we came up with Sneakster. Sneakster was launched at Back to School last year. If you go to sneakster.com, SNEAKSTER.com, it'll go right to our website to Sneakster's page. We actually have 2 live uniforms coming that are going to be in parades and stuff like that this next year that are done. They're developed. They're coming from China, and they'll be here over the next couple months, and we can use it back to school. But we wanted something just to really get kids plugged in. Like we've created coloring sheets, we've created workbooks around this. Really just to kind of engage the kids and teach them, something different than what they're looking at on their phones.
I'm glad that you brought the coloring thing up because I got the coloring book here. So talk a bit about the coloring book.
It's just a fun thing to teach, to learn about micro business. I mean, to learn about the reuse economy. And Sneakster kind of walks through that, and you can, color, you can draw. It's a story. It's basically a story of how these shoes around the world are giving people a hand up and not a handout.
I like that it says Sneaksters saves the day.
Yep.
So how's he saving the day?
Opportunity. We all need opportunity. We are helping people that are starving feed their families by selling a pair of shoes for minimal. We are changing people's life and keeping them, equipped with inventory to really promote themselves. And at the same time, we're reusing stuff that we would normally throw away. Only 5% of textiles in shoes are reused. 5% out of everything that's sold.
Wow.
So
it's amazing how much we throw to waste, right? And take advantage of.
It's amazing. And, I was always aware of this, but, I'm more aware of it now and everything I do. I mean, this book in reuse economy, this shirt I bought at a thrift store. I got it cleaned really well, but it's from a thrift store. So why would I go out and spend $150 on a Ralph Lauren shirt when I paid, I think, $8 for this? And there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
The jeans, the shoes I want, everything I buy that I can, I go to the thrift store and buy. And same thing, I was just in a developing nation and I bought stuff down there because they have big clothes and I'm 6'5", and 230 pounds. I'm a big guy. So they don't sell that type of product down there. That's usually excess, that
absolutely. Well, we have a question here is how does the shoe drive model work and why has it been so impactful globally? Again, the word globally. We want to state and stipulate that it's in the U.S. only.
Yeah, the fine print is in the U.S. only. The, glo- the global aspect is basically the people that we're setting up in the reuse economy. But it's been wildly successful because it's different. If you think about fundraising, and you and I talked about our children
Yep.
before the call, and I mean, they brought home magazine subscriptions, they brought home candy bars, they brought home popcorn. This is no calories whatsoever. And zero. You don't have to spend anything. We'll send you the rubber bands. We'll send you the bags to fill up and all that kind of stuff. So it's just a different thing. And at the same time, we're teaching these kids about excess. And we've had people that did shoe drive fundraisers with us that would tell our coaching team that, I can't believe that I had 7 pair of shoes in my closet I wasn't wearing and I still have 7 left. Because they just grow, they just expand.
We take so much for granted, so much for granted. And we were talking about that before we went live about our kids and grandkids and all that good stuff. And
Yeah,
I'm sure my grandkids got a couple of pairs of shoes that they're no longer using that they could donate.
that's right. Donate them to charity. We'll buy them from the charity and then we'll sell them to people in developing nations to build a business and we'll help them out all along the way.
When a question just came in, as you've shown the business and social good can work together, why do you think that mindset is so important today?
I think at the end of the day, do you want to be known for being the richest guy in town? Or do you want to be known for a guy that's going to be wealthy himself, but wealthy in spirit and wealthy with helping other people out? And, my biggest strength is my heart. My biggest weakness is my heart. And normally after these interviews, and I do quite a few interviews, I'll get people calling me up and asking me for something. I got to turn it over to somebody else because if not, I'll be broke. Because I just believe that everything you do, whether you're going to Starbucks to get coffee, open the door for somebody, smile at them, treat them with respect. Because when I was 17 years old, I was ready to commit suicide. And my school teacher noticed that something was wrong with me. And she said, Wayne, I'm not sure what's wrong with you. She goes, I'm going to tell you 3 things. And listen to me, boy. She goes, number 1, you matter. Number 2, you can do anything you want if you put your mind to it. Number 3, don't let the world get you down. That snapped me out of that mentality. And I went home and I said, you know what? I got this. And basically, I'm 61 now. I know I look 45, but 61 now. I'm still say that all of our tractor trailers say you matter on the outside. You walk in our office, the first thing you see is you matter. You go to my house, in my backyard, on the wall, there's grass, but it says you matter. Because we all need to be reminded of that no matter what, because life can be difficult. Life can be tough. You turn on the news, it's like, wow.
Yeah. And it's a simple phrase, you matter,
Yep.
And I think we need to put that more out into the world, is you matter. And that's why these stories are coming to Tea Time, because you all matter. Different teas, different flavors, different stories, different perspectives, and different ways of doing a change for life. We have a question here again from Mary, and it is a shoe drive a good fundraiser for a busy mom or for a school?
I'm going to assume that Mary's a busy mom and have kids in school. I'm going to assume that. Mary, I would tell you that PTAs and PTOs are probably 45 to 50% of the people that do this. So yes, it is absolutely something that schools are plugged into because they like it. Because if you go to our website, there's a curriculum on there that's really divided out by grade. So there's 4 levels of curriculum that you can get for free. You can download, and a lot of the teachers will download that and make that part of their teaching aspect.
A question here is, what does it mean for micro entrepreneurs in countries like Haiti or Cambodia? It's the same question that came in earlier, so I'm guessing the person thought I didn't see it. We already answered that one. You've built multiple successful businesses. What has been the biggest lesson along your journey, Wayne?
Biggest lesson. All right, so we talked about you matter. The biggest lesson is surround yourself with people that are smarter than you, better than you, faster, stronger than you. I barely made it through high school. If Loretta Rose did not do my homework during high school, I would not be out of high school. I'd still be in summer school at 61 years of age. So everything I've learned. You know, I work for some of the best people in the world. I work for some of the worst people in the world. I work for some of the nicest people in the world, and I work for some of the meanest people in the world. But I learned by everybody I worked for, is to really absorb and say, what do I want that model to be for me? And how do I want to project myself? And how do I want the people around me to see me projected to them?
Wayne, why is community such an essential part of creating real lasting impact?
Because I mean, who wants to be alone? I rather do life with people that, every Wednesday I go to breakfast with 5 or 6 guys of all different walks of life. Every Sunday morning, I go and have breakfast with a different group of guys, and these are people that are CEOs to maybe a homeless person that we met on the street that we invite in. So I just think doing the community, being out there, and basically being accessible and available. I return everybody's phone call. I return everybody's email. I might be in trouble. I have to be on your show or CBS or NBC or something like that. But,
All my guests are in trouble after we're on tea time.
but at the end of the day, you matter. And, I'm not too good or too busy to stop and answer that phone call 2 in the morning when you're like, hey, I'm done. My wife left me or my husband left me and my kids are acting up, whatever. I mean, I'm that guy you can pick up the phone and call. So I think just being out there and being, aware and really focusing on where you came from, and where you've gone and what got you here, and just be available for them.
And Wayne, what difference can we find on Sneakers for Good from funds to orgs?
Yeah, they're really way different. Funds to Orgs is like all shoes encompassing. It's a fundraiser. Sneakers for Good is not a fundraiser. We do pay the run retailers, the running stores, the marathons and stuff like that. We do pay their charity of choice, but it's not really geared as a fundraiser, for example. Like under Sneakers for Good, there's another brand called Green Sneakers. We plant trees. If you contribute a pair of shoes to this store, we will plant a tree on your behalf around the world for Green Sneakers. That could be a YMCA, it could be a run retailer, it could be the Boston Marathon this last weekend. They could do that. So the difference is just the type of product we get in, because the number one thing we need more of is athletic shoes, because in developing nations, athletic shoes are a form of transportation. That is their bike, that is their car. So they know that a good athletic shoe will help them and get around even better than what they would without it, or a pair of sandals or high heels or whatever.
So Wayne, do you want to tell us a little bit about the website I just put up? It's called reuseeconomy.com. Is that for the Sneakers for Good?
No, reuseeconomy.com is for the book. That really isn't, it's still in process. That it's not going to be 100% live until Monday. So you may want to flag that, whatever, and go back Monday and look at that. Sneakers for Good is sneakers, SNEAKERS, number 4, good.com. Or you can go to greensneakers.com as well.
And I'll get that into the description for all of you guys to check those out. We're going to go back to the funds2org.com. So anybody that's watching, and you can see that on the screen. Wayne, we have a thing here. Your story speaks to believing in a better world. What keeps that belief strong for you?
I would say my faith, and I would say life change that I see in people. I just had a tough discussion with an employee the other day, and I'm like, look, dude, you got this. I said, let me tell you what Mrs. Bush told me. And I went through the 3 things. You matter. You do anything when you put your mind to it. Don't let the world get you down. And I would say, as long as I stay rooted in that, and as long as everything I do or everything I say that comes out of my mouth, I'm like, what would my daughter say? What would my granddaughter say if she heard me say that? And it's basically just being a good dude, being there, but being real, but being a good person.
And Wayne, what do you hope your work leaves behind for future generations?
I hope there's a lot of crazy Wayne Elseys out there whose life's been changed by good people. And, I just pray every day that people know how important they are, how they matter, how they're a cousin, or brother, they're a sister, they're whatever. And as bad as life can get, as bad as life can get, if people can see You Matter on our trucks, that may change your life. It may prevent them from doing what I was going to do at 17. And I wanted to die. I was going to commit suicide. So I would like my legacy, and you'll see every time I sign a book, every time at the end of my email, it says You Matter, hashtag You Matter and my name, because I want people to believe that. I want that to be a movement. Like I've been saying this since I was 16 years old. That You Matter. This woman saved my life. And those two words can save somebody else's life, because you know as well as I do, life can be tough. You get kicked, hard all the time and put down and told you're dumb, stupid, ugly, fat, goofy, whatever. And but we matter. Everybody matters to themselves.
Absolutely. And how can an everyday person get involved and make a difference through this mission?
Go to the website. I mean, again, I would say, again, we're a for-profit company. We're not a charity, so we don't accept donations, nothing like that. We are a fundraising vehicle that impacted many, 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 many charities, raise money. Because if you think about a charity, that's the biggest thing they're looking for is funds to further their cause. Well, that's what we do by doing this social enterprise that we have.
And we have another question here from Mary is, what is the difference between Sneakers for Good and Funds to Orgs?
So Mary's on the fence. She might be a runner as well as a mom of kids in school. Thank you.
She's a busy lady.
Great questions, Mary. Thank you. So Mary, the difference between the two is Sneakers for Good only focuses on sneakers, literally. Only focus on sneakers. In the U.S., we provide prepaid shipping bags that you fill the bag up, you put 13 to 15 pair in there, you send them back to us. For example, at the Boston Marathon this weekend, we gave away over 10,000 bags. Literally 10,000 bags went out to people that attended the race pickup badge session they had a couple of days before. So the difference between that would be we only do sneakers at Sneakers for Good, and we do everything else at Funds to Orgs.
So where should people be going to first? I want all of my listeners to go to all of the websites that are being mentioned today, but which one should they check out first, Wayne?
Well, it just depends. So if you need to raise money for your nonprofit, church, school, civic group, go to Funds to Orgs. If you are interested in sustainability and athletic shoes and planting trees or keeping things out of landfill, specifically sneakers, go to sneakersforgood.com.
Awesome.
And Mary's got both of those pulled up on her browser right now, checking them both out. I guarantee it.
Awesome. Got browsers open right across. There was 4 websites that were given, and we're going to get those all out in the description. Turning shoes into funds, the 4 simple steps, Wayne.
I'm sorry, you cut out.
4 simple steps on raising funds for shoes.
So basically, you engage people, you spread the word, you collect, you consolidate, and then we pick them up. So basically, it's really up to the person, the school mom, the teacher, the religious leader. I mean, we have churches that do barefoot Sundays, and they ask people to leave it at the altar, and they pay for missions trips with this money. If you go to fundstoorgs.com, there's actually a whole series in there that churches use. We give them all the literature and the lessons to teach as well. So, I mean, it just depends on what you want. If you need to raise money, go to Funds to Orgs. If you want to be sustainable and, just focus on sneakers, go to Sneakers for Good. But the 4 steps are really just depends on what you need to do. What your end goal.
Could you tell us what those 4 steps are again?
Basically, rally people around you, consolidate. We'll pick them up and basically just spread the love, spread the word. So there's 4 steps for everybody else. I mean, if you do it at a church, they have to basically get the word out there, whatever. But it's all a matter. The big thing you need, Mary and everybody else that's listening, you need a community of people behind you when you do Funds to Orgs. We had a gentleman that was handicapped and he knew handicap van. They raised $35,000 to buy him a new van. The campaign was called Andrew's Van Fund. It was in Mississippi, I believe, and they raised $35,000. When the grandmother called into us, we're like, "Ma'am, you need an audience." She goes, "I don't have an audience." We almost talked her out of it. And literally 6 months later, we sent her a check for $35,000 and they bought the van.
Wow.
Because what she did is she got the media involved, she got all the community involved, and she goes, "I got this." She goes, "We can do this." And she, our coaching team's like, "Well, I guess we'll try it." And
Let's
then,
talk about that coaching team that you have going on.
yeah, so our organization set up. We have sales over here, and we have coaching over here. So once the salespeople take the call from Mary today, and they walk her through everything, we do a definitive agreement with them, a little simple MOU, memorandum of understanding, that says, "Here's what you're going to do. Here's what we're going to do. Here's what you're going to get paid, et cetera, et cetera." And then once that's finalized and we're in compliance with the solicitation laws by state in the USA, that gets turned over to our coaching team. Our coaching team then does a planning call with them. It says, "Okay, what is your army of people you have? How are you going to do this? What do you need?" And they send them all the materials, all the supplies that we provide free of charge, or they direct them to a Dropbox link on our website that they can download all the how-to, the charts, etc., the goal charts, and all that kind of stuff, and basically do it. So the coaching team takes it over from sales and really finishes when the shoes are picked up with our logistics team. And then they are the ones that send out the checks and a personal note to the folks and say, "Look, great job. Hopefully sign you up next year again."
So, Wayne, what is the most outrageous fundraising event that you've seen happen so far?
The most outrageous one is I had a guy I know the guy, I can't think of the state, he's in Idaho. He was a photographer, a professional photographer. Him and his family raised $62,000 in like 90 days. It was some crazy amount. And they would drive around from photography studio to people he connected with and say, "Look, here's what I'm going to do. I want to raise this money. I want to have it go to this mission in Haiti, I believe it was." And this goes back, 10 years ago. So I don't remember all the details, but they drove around. They made this their life. The kids were homeschooled. They had a U-Haul, and they had a RV, and the one followed the other one. They pick stuff up, they drop it off, and we thought this guy was crazy. Well, he was crazy. All right. He basically made it happen because he said, "Look, I have a goal. I want to help these people out." And he did it in a big way and got his entire family. He's got, I think, 6 or 7 kids.
Oh, wow.
That's what I said. Oh, wow.
And you mentioned right?
Right.
Those are committed people that want to make a difference. It's the little impacts that make the biggest impacts, I find.
Well, and it's funny you say that because we were talking about the beginning of the company. Our beginning of the company, we thought everybody would collect a tractor trailer load of shoes. Now, an average fundraiser does 2,500 pounds or pairs to maybe 5,000 pairs. So, they're smaller. It's $1,000 payout up to, a $2,000 or $3,000 payout. So we thought it'd be like these big, big loads of shoes. Well, those are one-offs. Those are people that do this, like the guy Travis did that drove all around the country. And, they're the van folks. So we have radio stations around the country, Christian radio stations that do big drives, one-offs a year. But the average person, is going to do a couple thousand pair to 5,000, maybe 6,000 pairs of shoes and, reach their fundraising goals.
Wayne, do you have any events that are going on that you'd like to mention?
We have hundreds. Literally every month we have 400 to 600 events. I would say, some of the things I'm hearing now are Earth Day events. Earth Day is next week, and people doing major collections then. There was one person I heard about, one organization wants to fill a truck of shoes as a visual. So they apparently have a truck dealer that donated a truck that they could put the shoes in. So I would say it varies all over. Back to school, it's kind of cool because, Sneakster is going to be back around for, really the year anniversary of Sneakster will be in August. And there's all kinds of events that are going to come with that. We have these little Sneakster paddles that they take their pictures, they put on Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. And it's called Shoe Me the Love or Show Me the Love, but it's shoe, SHOE, me the love, which is kind of cool. And they hold this paddle up, they take their picture. I should have brought one, but I didn't. So, but they're kind of cool.
I try to get out as much as I can. Is there anything that I've missed, Wayne, that you think we need to get out there?
Now, I would say the biggest thing, the simplest thing you do can make a big difference in somebody's life. And whether you do business with funds to orgs or Sneakers for Good or one or other companies, just do something for somebody else. When you go to Starbucks, buy somebody a coffee. When you go to the grocery store, hold the door open. Do something different. Maybe let somebody walk in front of you because there is so much junk going on up here. Our lives are so busy, and the littlest thing can make a big difference. Like you will never hear me talk bad about anybody. It's not worth it. Everybody has something good in them. I'm not one to bash our competition. I'm not one to talk about other people. I'm one to say, look, they're a great organization. Support them.
Well, we got some lightning bolt questions for you for the last 10 minutes here, Wayne. And the first one I'm going to start with is one word that defines your mission.
Opportunity.
You want to tell me why?
It's an opportunity to fund your mission, fund your organization with money, and it's an opportunity to help people in developing nations create money so that they can earn a business. It's keeping our shoes out of landfills, and it's employing, the 30-some people we have working for our company.
Impact or innovation? Which leads first?
Impact.
Why?
Because I know that our demand is through the roof, meaning people want what we have to sell to create businesses, and we can't get enough. You would think with all the shoes that are out there in the world, you would think that this would just be, my wife, when we started this, she goes, we're going to run out of shoes. I'm like, never. And I said, every year, 2.5 billion are sold, 2 billion are sold at the time, whatever. And they keep circulating. And as soon as Americans clean their closet out, they'll buy more.
Favorite part of your work?
The people. I love every morning when I come in. I've done this all my life. Go around and say hello to everybody. Literally. I think if, I was on a business interview the other week and we were talking about remote and we we're talking about things that, that are changing the world. I said, one of the biggest things that's changed in the world is direct deposit. And I said, let me tell you why. I said, every Friday I deliver the check and I'd go, Miss Liz, you were late to work on Tuesday. Get your ass in gear. I wouldn't say that, but get your butt in gear.
I would say yes.
but I would have the paycheck in my hand and I'd hand it to her. Right now it's in your account. We've had people that worked for us that left 3 weeks later and says, I didn't get paid. Guess what? You quit. Why would you get paid? You don't get paid. The paychecks just don't show up. So my point is that human connection of handing a paycheck out is valuable. And so we have direct deposit, but I go every day that I'm in the office, say hello, see what's going on, ask about their kids, know their name, know their wife's name, and just really make that effort because that matters to people.
Know your team.
Yep. And they know me. I'm an open book.
A small step or big vision?
Well, I'm a visionary. So I'm a guy that comes up with an idea a minute. But you'll hear me say a lot in life, and our teams heard this 100 times, crawl, walk, run. I want to run, but you got to crawl, you got to walk, and you got to run. So you got to start off slow because if you ran and your business philosophy, your business strategy didn't work, like ours wouldn't have worked if we ran. We had to crawl, we had to listen. There's an old Annie, when you're doing CPR training, Annie, wake up, stop, look, and listen. And crawl, walk, run are my big sayings that I have in business.
And if your life were a message, what would it be?
Hope.
Why?
Because if Mrs. Bush didn't give me hope, I wouldn't be here today. You see it in my house. There's hope. There's little engraved things from Haiti around here that say hope that they did on metal that I bought at a market down there. But hope is what we all need. And we all need grace. Those two things are very, very, very important to people. We need to give people grace. Instead of trashing people, we need to give them a little grace. Instead of bad-mouthing your competitor, give them love.
And Wayne, do you want to share a story about your favorite sneakers growing up?
Well, growing up, they were Chuck Taylors. Come on, there was nothing else. And if you were really cool and you could afford it, you had one color on one foot, one color on the other foot. So, but I had a pair of red Chuck Taylors. And if you think about it, you look at our website and see what's going on there, there's always there's a red shoe on there, and that's red Chuck Taylor's kind of look and feel, because everybody can really, it's an icon.
And how old were you when you got your first pair?
Probably 9 or 10, but keep in mind, I'm a big guy. I'm almost 6'5". So I wore a size 14 there. I probably wore a 10, when I was 10 years old. But so I was probably 10 or 12, something like that. 8, 10, I don't remember, to be honest with you.
And we talked about grandkids. Are your grandkids into the same kind of sneakers as Grandpa, or?
No, they're too cool, man. I mean, the oldest girl, it likes anything pink. The middle boy likes anything soccery, and the youngest likes anything football. So they are just amazing, amazing, amazing kids, and I do nothing but pour into them. I call them just about every day. I try to call them every day and sing crazy songs to them or say crazy things to them, and just get their day started right.
And what final message do you have for all the listeners today?
Just do it. If you got an idea, and that's a trademark of Nike, but I think they're happy if I say this with their stock prices these days. They're going to be happy if I promote them a little bit. But just do it. If you got an idea, don't be afraid, and don't let the naysayers get you down. I've had people tell me I was dumb, I was stupid, this will never work, you don't know what you're doing. And while that hurt, and I'm not going to lie to you and say it didn't, I let that motivate me as well. I wanted to prove people wrong. My dad would ask me all the time, what are you trying to prove? Well, I'm trying to prove my mother wrong or other people wrong that put me down, to this day. Every day to me is like, what can I do to make a difference in somebody's life? And maybe this message inspires you. Maybe this message gives you hope. Maybe this message is something that you need to hear, that you matter, because you do matter. And you matter to me, you matter to others, you matter to your family, and you matter to God.
And I'm just going to pull up your book one last time. So this book is available where, Wayne?
That book, as well as 11 other books that I've written, are on Amazon. You can download them instantly. We make zero money on these books. We give them away. Literally, I think our downloads are 99 cents. This book is $24.95. And we are lowering the price on that next week. We'll launch this. We just put it up there as a placeholder. But we basically want volumes of books out there. So I've written 12 books total. I actually have a new book coming out in a couple months with the founder of Reebok. That's coming out. So that'll be a little bit, a whole different structure. But these books are available on Amazon. And I would say read them, get inspired, download the Kindle. I think the Kindle versions are 99 cents of all the other books. And that's just the cost of the transaction. So.
And the coloring book, where can they find that?
They can download that at funds2orgs.com for free.
And do you want to just give a shout out to all the websites that you mentioned really quickly, Wayne?
Yeah, so Funds2Orgs, FUNDS, number 2 ORGS, Sneakers for Good, green sneakers. You can go to sneakstir.com. You can go to one of our other companies that we didn't talk about called treeraise.com, or you can go to wayneelsey.com and learn more about me and keep up with what I'm doing in the world and hopefully get some inspiration.
Well, I really want to thank you for this conversation, because this was a heartfelt conversation. We got some giggles, we got some laughs, and we might get in a little bit of trouble after this tea time. But I want to thank all the viewers and listeners that joined in, brought your questions to the table. I could not do this without you guys. We do this as a team. Miss Liz serves the tea, and with me, we have a team. That's the way Miss Liz serves this tea. I'm just going to do a quick wrap up of what today's tea time was, and then I'll see everybody at 7 p.m. with the second tea time of today. What a powerful and inspiring conversation. Wayne, thank you for reminding us that change does not always require something complicated. Sometimes it begins with a simple ideal, a willing heart, and the courage to take action. This afternoon, we were reminded that when we come together as a community, we can create something far greater than ourselves. Your work shows that helping others does not just change their lives, it changes ours as well. From our local communities raising funds, to families around the world building businesses, your mission proves that connection, sustainability, and opportunity can all exist together. Here is something to carry with you after this tea time. What small action could you take today that might create a ripple effect in someone else's life? Because sometimes what we no longer need can become exactly what someone else needs to begin again. To everyone listening, you can be a part of this. You can host a shoe drive, you can support the mission, and you can share this message. Until our next cup, keep sharing, keep choosing purpose, keep choosing impact, and keep being part of a world that lifts each other up. And I'll see everybody at 7 p.m. with the second tea time.
Awesome. Thank you, Miss Liz.